Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. I've got Stuart Vener on. He's been on the program before and talks a lot about what's happening on the financial front. He's been seen on Fox News, CNN, CBS National, most important, though, on The Price of Business frequently. And Stuart, always glad to have you on the program. How are ya?
It's great to be on your show, Kevin. I'm real good, thank you.
Yeah, good. FHA loans still available. Other problems loom. What's the spill on this?
Well, they did stop it for a while, but I'm understanding that they are completing the loans that are in progress with the government shutdown. But where there's another big issue is whether it be an FHA or Fannie or Freddie or any loan or mortgage, they're going to require independent verification from the IRS. When you turn in your tax returns, that has to be verified. And that department, I believe, is shut down.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
really delay everything.
Yeah, and so I mean, I guess there have been some things affected by the shutdown. I personally am a kind of a fan of the shutdown. I'm opposed to them not increasing the debt ceiling. That's literal suicide. I can't believe they're entertaining that. Two separate issues. In fact, I wrote about it at Huffington Post. If you put in Kevin Price at HuffingtonPost.com, my latest column talks about the difference between the two. The shutdown, to me, could be fiscally responsible. Last time we had one, we got a balanced budget back in the 1990s, shortly after. It raises awareness. But this whole idea of
you had people that would talk and negotiate.
That's right. And what happens with this idea of not raising the debt ceiling, that is going to be pure pandemonium. That's chaos.
If you don't raise the debt ceiling, you're exactly right. Then we default on our debt, and then what happens to the country?
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, just think about the last time you, the listener, defaulted on anything or even got late on anything. Did that do anything to help your ability to get more money for the next thing you needed to purchase? I don't think so.
It's terrible. It's really very frightening what's going on here. And I think we have an administration that just does not want to negotiate anything. It's his way or the highway.
Yeah. Well, and we got a Congress that doesn't seem to be, and as you well know, I'm as big of a critic of this administration as you're going to find. And frankly, with hundreds of thousands being furloughed during this period of time, it's amazing how much we all function without government. So it's kind of a clarion call that with a $17 trillion debt stealing from future generations, it might be time for us to all take a breather when it comes to non-essential employees. But I'm telling you, the Congress needs to remove. 1 second before you go on that, Congress needs to remove the debt ceiling from this negotiation. In my opinion, They should remove it. They should remove it.
I agree with you completely.
A 1 year increase in the debt ceiling so we can get a little calmness when it comes around that. But let the shutdown continue. Let's play hardball with the shutdown as long as the administration wants to.
I tend to agree with you there, but I'll tell you something kind of interesting that just happened to me a couple days ago. On another business matter, I was talking to a lady in Washington who has a fairly responsible position with a government entity, with part of the government. And she's open for business. And you know what the department is? Giving away grants.
Oh, yeah.
There's business full steam. Yeah. And if you're an Ethiopian and needs money for something, you can go to Washington and get it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Talk a little bit about the housing situation. It seems to me that another potential bubble is in the works. What's your thoughts about that?
Well, I think you're right. I mean, it can certainly happen. Right now, I know they're putting in a new Fed chairman who I think is going to keep printing money, which I don't think is particularly good, but it will keep mortgage interest down terribly low. Not going to be good for your savings. But if interest rates start to rise, which at some point that must happen, I mean, we can't print $85 billion a month worth of money, then you're going to see the people that are qualified for the $150,000 mortgage or $200,000 mortgage are now going to qualify for a third less. Mm-hmm. And so you're not going to see property moving. And at the same time, these mortgage-backed securities, which are what makes up the entire lending business today, really, those are a security as well. And if interest rates start to rise, that value is going to drop as well. And then we've got the smallest amount of home ownership in years. Even though you're seeing property moving, it's these big hedge funds that are buying property as rentals. And if things get bad, they'll dump them.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't have the emotional attachment that you have to your own home. They'll cut their losses just like they do in the stock market. They'll dump it.
Yeah, and of course the market is wildly fluctuating. The media, of course, is saying it has entirely to do with the shutdown and the situation with the debt ceiling. I think that they're half right. I don't really think the market's that freaked out by the shutdown. I think they are freaked out, though, by the debt ceiling. Talk a little bit about that some more.
Well, the debt ceiling would be a disaster. I mean, we would be defaulting on our debt. That would lower the credit rating, which means you'd have to pay more for your money. Obviously, if your credit's worse, you pay higher interest. And I think the Chinese are pretty scared about what's going on. Maybe we'll take a little bit of heed from their warning.
Yeah, unbelievable. It really is kind of science fiction. I expected this kind of pandemonium from the Democrats, but not the Republicans. And Boehner is so weak. They call him Speaker of the House. He's more like messenger of the House. He pretty much is the water boy of whoever tells him where to go. He doesn't know how to lead people. He doesn't know how to direct people. He doesn't know where to tell. He gets himself in so much deep water with his caucus by not fighting the appropriate battles that he becomes a pushover when he needs to have some spine. And he needs to be able to say, listen, I know you guys haven't been around for long, but there's two separate battles here. And the reason why we're for the shutout is we want to restore fiscal sanity. Letting the debt ceiling situation turn into a complete crisis will do nothing to help the fiscal situation. He doesn't have the intestinal fortitude. He doesn't have the street credibility to talk that way, unfortunately.
No,
that's why we needed a new speaker. We've needed a new speaker since the very beginning. He should have never been elected Speaker of the House, in my opinion.
No, we need a Newt Gingrich. And maybe a Bill Clinton as president.
Yeah, I don't know about Newt. We'll have you back on to talk about him. I was thinking Mike Pence, who's now governor of Indiana, who is the only one who is really qualified to challenge.
He's a good man.
He's the only one qualified to challenge him on the speakership, and unfortunately he chose not to. He decided to run for other office. He would have been a great speaker, in my opinion, because he's got real-world, real-politic understanding of what can happen, and at the same time he has real principle and real philosophy that was crucial and would have given him some street credibility with that new caucus that came in 2011. All right, Stuart Vener, always enjoy having you on. Stuart, your website.
Realtycrisis.com, or my number is 877-94-HELP-ME.
Thanks so much for being with us. All right, when we come back, we're going to have much more for you. Thanks for listening to The Price of Business.